Hi, my name is Jeffrey. I'm a photographer with Makula Pictures. I'm happy to be speaking to you today. This is not a happy but very necessary video. So many couples are not okay. So are the vendors. Not sick really, but they're just uneasy about whatever is going on with this lockdown and the pandemic, and it's been sad really. In case you don't know what is happening, the president of this country, Uganda, about 3 weeks ago declared a total lockdown, and that meant that people cannot move, people cannot go ahead with their events, and vendors too were affected, couples were affected. So it's been a trick, it's been a funny mode. Some had to reschedule, some decided to go ahead with the events. The president stopped movement of vehicles apart from the essential workers. Photographers, unfortunately, I'm not among the essential workers, and not just the vendors. So if you held an event during the lockdown, that meant you had to get clearance even for your guests that have to come for the event. So that was a bit tricky too. And besides the whole events, stuff, drama and all that, people, unfortunately, we've lost people, we've lost our loved ones, we've lost our family and friends, and it's been a somber mood altogether. This video is to advise, if you had an event between this period and when the president finally opens us up, and in the few weeks to come, to give advice on what you should do. Now, because the lockdown happened suddenly, please understand that some vendors, say bridal shops, are unable to be flexible. Some of their staff was locked in their shops. Movement is a trick. Some aren't able to access their offices. We just ask that you be quite understanding if they asked for you guys to get them permission to move. Guests too are unable to move freely as they should. If you are that client that doesn't mind, you can reschedule. Go reschedule your event to a later date. If you are one that doesn't want to reschedule your wedding, you could go ahead with your plans, keeping in mind that there's a lot that is going to come into play. For example, you might have to get permission for your vendors, for your guests. There's a wedding I attended, and we had the letter from the RDC and RCC mentioning the event, and that's what we used to go through the barricades. Some officers are quite understanding, some are funny, but you could try. If you are the type that doesn't want to risk it, please go ahead and reschedule now. The earlier the better. You don't want to wait for the date to get closer, so you start panicking. The more time you have to reschedule, the better. You can plan better. The longer you wait to reschedule, the faster the dates are being booked out by the people who are rescheduling earlier and taking up the future months. So please note that some of these weekends already had bookings originally. And if you're rescheduling, my best advice is that it is better for you and your vendors to look at a weekday or a Sunday. Sunday weddings are also okay. In the next months after the 42 days have expired, avoid Saturdays as much as you can. Chances are these Saturdays already have events, and it might be a trick for you to get your preferred vendors all available in one particular Saturday in the coming months, yeah, because most are pushing, and already those events had, you have enough time to plan better, and I think that's also important. You don't have decisions to rush to. Don't be afraid of a non-Saturday wedding. We shoot those many times in December. Reschedule to any day that's not a Saturday. We see weddings in December that happen on Mondays and Tuesdays. You could offer a Wednesday, if that's okay. If that's the day that your preferred vendors are available, yeah. I think we need to get to normalize weekday weddings. Think about what's more important to you. Is it having your preferred vendors at your event or having a Saturday wedding? Please know that the vendors' business is hurting also because of the lockdown. None of them will come and tell you. But yeah, just try to be respectful and understanding when you're asking for discounts. I had someone who called me and wanted a package of 6 million at 1.5. One big thing that you really need to be aware of before you start checking, locking in dates with your venue is that you want to be sure that your vendors are available on the dates that you're considering. I'm talking vendors that can only be in one place at a time. The vendors who can do more than one event. But those that, if you have among your vendors people that can only do one event, you want to first ask if they're available, not you locking a date and they're already booked that day. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's basically that. If you're freaking out right now and don't know how to handle this, the postponement and all that drama and everything, I think it's the right time to hire a wedding planner. I reach out to Zuba planners or any planners. There's many wedding planners around that can help you with the postponing, the rescheduling, talking to your vendors, talking about the dates. There's many really. Have someone coordinate all that. Yeah. If your wedding is in August, early August, and you're uncertain about what the president might say on the 30th of July, you might want to think of a plan B. If you don't want to work within the acceptable government 20 people weddings, you might have to ask your vendors what future dates they could have available. Let them know. I'm sure they're seeing what is going on. Yeah, they'll be very flexible. Again, keeping in mind that you have to normalize weekday weddings. Call them, ask them what dates they're available. Ask them how you can go about this. Like I mentioned earlier, the earlier the better. If you say, I have a client whose event was the 31st. I think the introduction was the 31st and the wedding was 7th. Then they called back, I think 2 days ago, and they said they're moving the introduction to the Thursday of that Saturday, 7th. Yeah, for them they don't mind the 20 people. Now the people who are still big on numbers, I had a client on the 7th still and 14th who pushed to a later date. Yeah, because we don't know what the president might say, whether he opens up partially and still movement is a trick, or he adds us. But I'm glad that the numbers are reducing and all that, and I'm optimistic that they're going to open us up and we're going to be able to shoot, document your weddings and have weddings like we know them. Uganda weddings are big on people because people bring the vibe. Yeah. So yeah, I hope this video helps you, and I also pray that that you're safe, that your family is keeping safe. I pray that God provides finances, really. This has been a trying time. Many people are not working, people are treating loved ones. And may God restore the money that was lost on treatment, the money that was lost when you are not working. I pray for beautiful weddings ahead. I pray for good things. I pray for beautiful marriages. I pray that God may cause His face to shine on you. Bye. That will be it for me.